Energy Minister Gwede Mantashe has signed an agreement with 3 wind power suppliers. The deals are part of government's effort to curb the worsening energy crisis in the country. The wind power projects fall under the Renewable Energy Independent Power Producers Procurement Program launched in April 2021. For more, we're joined by SABC News economics reporter Naledi Matlapeng. Good afternoon, Naledi. Perhaps you can give us some color in terms of the events that have transpired so far with the independent power producers.
Well, the agreement that was signed here today is expected to help create more energy capacity for South Africa. We know that South Africans are frustrated and angry because of the continuing load shedding that Eskom is implementing. Now, it's estimated that about 5 billion rand is lost on a daily basis due to load shedding. The question is now, how long will the South Africans have to wait before they see any reduction in load shedding? Well, joining us to take this matter further is Head of IPP Office, Mr. Chiviwa Magoro. Good afternoon, sir, and thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your viewers at home.
Can you tell us why did it take so long for the signing ceremony to happen for this bid window?
Yes, we were planning to sign in April this year. Unfortunately, Eskom was delayed in terms of issuing the connection agreements to these bidders. So we had to wait until that process is concluded. And they finalized that process now end of August, which is why we are now able to sign with these companies.
So why is it only 3 companies chosen out of the 25 companies that have actually successfully bidded?
So these 3 were the first one to receive what we call the budget quotations, the Eskom connection agreements. So they received theirs end of July, which is why we are able to sign. So the others will also get theirs. They just received their budget quotations, and which means in the coming month we'll be signing with them as well. So we've given them until end of October for them to come forward so that we can follow the same process that we did today and sign those agreements.
Now, for South Africans who are actually angry because of the continuous load shedding, how soon should they expect any reduction in load shedding whatsoever?
Yes, I must be honest. Reduction in load shedding in the immediate is really dependent on Eskom fixing Eskom plant. So the projects that we signed today, unfortunately, construction takes time. These are multi-billion projects. Construction is expected to take 24 months. So we're expecting power from these 3 projects to come online towards the end of 2024.
Well, the minister alluded earlier to the fact that, there aren't many renewable energy companies in South Africa. Are we really having local companies benefiting from this deal?
Yes, we do have local companies benefiting. You saw in these agreements that we signed today, there are black partners involved in these 3 projects. They own about 50-60% of the projects themselves. And the main sponsor, EDF, owns 40% of the project. And I'm also happy to say in these 3 projects, local communities where the projects are located have a stake of 2.5% in each of the projects, which is again the benefits that the communities and the South Africans will get out of this project. And over and above that, the projects are required, when they sign with us, they are required to create jobs, and then we commit them on those jobs for the full duration of the contract, which is 20 years. So they have to deliver on those jobs. There's also money made available for socio-economic development projects in the location where the projects are. Those communities will benefit, small business development will benefit, and we also monitor the projects on the delivery of those commitments.
So why were these companies chosen? Why was there specifically wind companies chosen?
So the program was for both wind and solar. So it just happened that these 3 wind companies are the ones that are ready to sign. But we do have 13 solar companies that are still to sign. And then we have another, so we had 12. We've got another 9 wind companies that are still to sign.
So do we know more or less how many jobs are going to be created?
For these 3 projects in particular, there's 2,300. We use job years, meaning 1 job for the full year. And the reason we do that is because of the nature of the projects, people are not employed necessarily on a full-time basis. They come on a project and do some work, and then others come and do the next phase of the project. So how we calculate, we use what we call the job years, which is a formula that is used by Public Works. So we have for this project commitments of 2,300 job years.
So are you going to be monitoring to find out that, to ensure that there's not any delays that's going to be happening going forward?
For these contracts, definitely. They are very strict agreement. There are penalties for delays, and there are also penalties, incentives for early completion. So if they finish early, they're able to generate power to the grid and they can get the revenue early. But if they are late, there are penalties that will be imposed because we are all waiting for that energy.
That was Mr. Chiviwa Magoro, who's the head of IPP office, who's just been highlighting, the importance of this agreement today and how South Africans can actually benefit from it going forward as far as load shedding is concerned. Thank you. Back to you in studio.
That's SABC News economics reporter Naledi Matlapeng.